498 words about Claptrap, the Forgettable Robot. Published on my website, accordionsprout.com, 20th of May, 2024. I can't calculate how many hours of my life have been spent on the planet Pandora killing bandits and skags. In the literal 15 years since the game was released, I've thought about the opening minutes of Borderlands at least once every other hour. My gray matter regularly replays footage of Mordecai swinging his blade, memorizing the number of pops in Brick's neck as he cracks it, all while Cage the Elephant sings No Rest for the Wicked. The opening sequence on Marcus's bus remains one of the best beginnings of any AAA video game I've played because of the way it perfectly established the narrative tone, visual aesthetic, and player expectations. And then, there was a robot waiting on the side of the road. A robot character in any science fiction story should be memorable. That's just an understood philosophical agreement. It's a tad perplexing, then, how one of the most memorable robot characters in such a popular science fiction franchise managed to begin with such an understated introduction. Claptrap exists in Borderlands purely as a design element. The CL4P PT unit, or Claptrap, is the most familiar design element to any regular video game player. The introduction NPC, non-playable character. That isn't an official term, by the way, it's just my own. Claptrap exists only to guide the player to their first real playable location, in this case, the town of Firestone. Along the way, he'll provide the player some basic exposition about the planet Pandora, player controls, item management, and customization options for player skins. And that's it. After this introduction, any other Claptraps I encounter are either broken and need repairs, or else they're gatekeepers. He would only later develop into a narrative figure, and then eventually as a playable character. In this short essay, I wanted to observe how my intellectual impression of Claptrap compared to my emotional one. I love the character, unironically, and what he became in the series, though I appear to be in the minority. And I admit I have a strong emotional attachment because of how much I played Borderlands. Nostalgia is a difficult figure to abandon. Though having recently restarted Borderlands to play with my girlfriend, I'm honestly left agog by how little Claptrap's presence is. There's the occasional interruption when I'm passing by. I hear him say, "Check me out, y'all, I'm dancing! I'm dancing!" That's it. This is an instance where hindsight provides as much context as it does. I hardly noticed Claptrap the first time I played the game. I was more concerned with giggling psychos and their buzzsaws. Looking back, Claptrap was only a design element, and narratively speaking, he was, at most, an atmosphere element for the general aesthetic. It's fascinating, then, to observe how one detail in an entire science fiction video game about a post-apocalyptic corporate wasteland went on to become not just an identifiable mascot for the franchise, but also one of the best robots in any work of fiction. He even knew how to dance. Joshua Jammer Smith, 20th of May, 2024. Howdy, I'm Jammer. So, let's get the necessary stuff out of the way, as always. First off, thanks for listening. Again, over and over, thank you so much for listening. It really does mean a lot to me. The fact that you give me your time, which is all we really have in this life, and you gave it to me, hey, whoever you are, wherever you are, you rock, keep doing you, and just thanks. Second, because this is YouTube, please do the like, share, and subscribe, all that jazz. It helps the channel because it helps me get on the algorithm, assuming I'm even anywhere on that. I think I'm probably, like, if you take YouTube as an ocean metaphor, I'm not even one of the little fish swimming under a whale. I'm pretty sure I'm, like, whatever the ocean equivalent of a mite on a fish's ass is. So that's me. So if you give me a like, it helps me anywhere. And for me too, I'm throwing these out into the universe, and seeing a like every now and then is a nice little ego boost. It's like, hey, somebody listened, and I appreciate it. As always though, you don't have to if you don't want to, but I would appreciate it. And on that same note, if you like me, if you like the channel, if you like my visual art, if you like the writing, please maybe consider throwing me a buck in my Patreon. It's just patreon.com/jammerdraws, links in the description section, and it's literally $1. That's it. It's a $1 tier donation. Like, if you've got $1 this month you don't mind parting with, or $12 for the year, or even if you want to do just a one-time donation, I'd be happy to take anything and everything. So, now for the essay. This is, admittedly, a really short essay. Like, by the time I finished recording it a second ago, I was like, wow, that was very brief. But, I mean, that's what the whole under 500-word essays is about anyway. But it's also kind of fitting because, again, Claptrap is, at least in terms of the very first Borderlands game, just a very quick impression. He's there, he helps establish the plot, and then he's pretty much gone, except for occasionally popping up to help you get through a gate, or if you're in like some sort of bunker like Sledge's safe house or a cave, you'll usually find a broken Claptrap, and if you fix him up, you'll usually get like a backpack upgrade to carry more guns and stuff. So it's nice. But I really wanted to focus here on the fact that, like, I've played a tremendous amount of Borderlands. I've played Borderlands 1, 2, 3. I've played Tiny Tina's Adventure. I haven't played any of the Tales from the Borderlands game. I've wanted to. And I have played Borderlands, the pre-sequel, where you can actually play as Claptrap. I didn't get very far into that one, though, because, I don't know, I didn't vibe with it as much as the other ones. But it's not a bad game. I should give it another shot at some point in the future. But Claptrap is always just kind of there. He's used first as a very sparingly NPC. It's just kind of like, hey, look, it's a robot. It's a science fiction story, so we'll have a robot. And then in the later games, by the time you get to number 2, Claptrap begins to assume a real character. And then by the time you get to the third game, he's more than just a character. I mean, he's now a part of the resistance, and he's just it's incredible watching such a small detail of a work become as just pronounced as it is. And so with this short essay, I thought it was interesting to observe how hindsight can really reflect how one core element of a work can go on to become something so much more. And there's plenty other of examples that you could use if you wanted to sort of observe how creativity within franchises, or how creativity centered around one mechanic, can build into something greater. Like, sometimes one of the biggest misunderstandings about creativity, whether it be painting, writing, video game design, sculpture, what have you, is the idea that everything is an semblance of forethought, but sometimes it isn't. A lot of times people are just kind of just getting the idea down onto the page, down into the code, down onto the canvas. And I remember teachers saying it best, a lot of the biggest discoveries in the history of science are not usually the eureka moment. It's usually more somebody looking at a piece of data and going, that's interesting. In the case of Claptrap, I have no doubt that was probably it. Somebody probably looked at Claptrap, thought, that's interesting. And then, of course, the fan base turned Claptrap into, I suspect, what he would eventually become. But he's such a small element of it. And so looking at video games as a whole, it's an interesting idea to consider other NPCs that began with such a small element or role or component, and who would eventually go on to become something so much greater than the actual whole. Which is honestly far more than what I actually wrote about. So, I will admit, my essay here is something of a failure, and the YouTube channel that I'm making now is maybe my way of fleshing the idea out more, but still, I like the idea of making just a nice little short essay about such a nice little short element that would go on to become something more. And I feel like I've come around full circle now, so there's probably not much else to say except, well, hey, thank you for listening. I tremendously appreciate it, and go play some video games.